Metro Weather Watch, evening update for the Evansville metro area and surrounding tri-state communities, with meteorologist Nathan Kitchens.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you all are doing well on this Thursday evening. Your evening video update is brought to you by Vinny's Auto Detail. They've been serving the tri-state for over 17 years with high-quality window tinting and auto detailing at reasonable prices. Visit them in Evansville at 950 North Congress Avenue and give Donnie a call at 812-471-4900. We're going to start off this video by talking about snow. We did have some snow yesterday evening over our northern tri-state counties, just a little bit that accumulated mainly in the grassy areas as that rain transitioned to a quick burst of moderate snow that really came down for a good little bit here over our northern counties as the system moved out. Certainly the more appreciable snow ended up well north of the area, just as we expected, but you can see looking at the snowfall totals here, many areas saw a trace of snow over our northern counties, a 1/10 inch around Mount Vernon, and I did get a report just west of Vincennes of about a 1/2 inch on the grassy areas, and here around French Lick about a 1/2 inch of snowfall, so enough to kind of whiten the ground over our far northern counties yesterday evening. Certainly up closer to Indy, they had a little more snow. About 2.1 inches was the official total in Indy. And then as you head north of there, as much as 3 to 4 inch totals, and even over 4 inches in a couple spots over north central Indiana. So again, the brunt of the winter weather once again to our north. But you know, taking a look at the snowfall for the whole season compared to where we should be, our entire region is running way below average. In fact, you know, looking at this here, the lack of snow is not something that's just been exclusive to our region. I mean, the entire area has seen much below average snowfall for this winter season. And in fact, you know, it's interesting. Chicago's only had 6/10 of an inch since January 1st. And Evansville's had 4/10 of an inch since January 1st. So Chicago's only had 2/10 inches of more snow since January 1st than what we've had here in Evansville, and that's remarkable to think of a city up, you know, all the way up to Chicago, Illinois, and they just really didn't see anything in January. They had a couple good snows back in December, but I mean, this lack of snowfall for all your snow lovers, this isn't just something that our area has seen. I mean, the whole region has been running way below normal in snow this winter. That is for sure. Now, where I live just north of the tri-state area up towards Martinsville, and I did get a nice little burst of snow yesterday evening, about 1.5 to 2 inches of snow. I took a couple pictures here to post. I'm not trying to rub it into the snow lovers. I mean, that's not a lot of snow, but it was a pretty sight yesterday evening here in my backyard. Looking at temperatures over the next few days, we were very cold today. We had a high temperature, I believe about 31 at Evansville. We might have hit the freezing mark. I'll have to check, but this is the coldest day we've had in over 1 month, which is pretty crazy to think. It's been over a month here since we've had temperatures this cold. It just goes to show how warm we were for the past several weeks. Well, we're gonna have another warm up here. Today was cold, but it's just a one-day thing, and now tomorrow we're right back to the warmth with a southwesterly flow coming in. We're going to see very gusty winds, perhaps as high as 30+ miles per hour at times with those gusts. Yesterday, tomorrow afternoon, with temperatures surging from the 20s first thing in the morning all the way to the 50s during the afternoon. So we are talking about a 30+ degree temperature swing from morning to afternoon. So very nice recovery tomorrow with those warmer temperatures. And we're going to keep the warm up through most of the weekend. Temperatures on Saturday are likely to get into the 60s. I think this is way too cool here in the NAM model. We'll likely get at least into the low 60s for highs. And we'll stay warm Saturday night ahead of a cold front to our northwest. And then as we head into Sunday, a front will swing through, and that will drop our temperatures as we go into Sunday afternoon. Looking at our setup this weekend, first off, tomorrow we get a strong southwesterly flow on the backside of that high pressure. It's going to pump in warmer temperatures for our region. And going into Saturday, that's when we're going to start to introduce rain into the forecast. Eventually we'll get enough low-level moisture. We'll see a lot of low-level clouds around Saturday with some showers. So it's not going to be a pretty parts of the weekend, especially Saturday. Looks like a very gray day, and we're going to see some drizzle and some showers during the afternoon hours. And then those showers will kind of pick up Saturday night. And then it's going into Sunday. Now the trend here is to get this cold front through here quicker. So, and now it looks like showers on Sunday would be early in the day, and in the afternoon looks just fine really now with dry conditions and temperatures falling during the afternoon hours. So we'll likely reach our high on Sunday around 5 or 6 in the morning, around 62 degrees, but then we'll start to fall during the day. Not dramatically, but it will be a cooler afternoon with drier air starting to push into the area. Now, Heading into next week, to put it briefly, right now it looks like we're going to see mainly seasonable temperatures, which is something we haven't had much of this year, and also it looks pretty quiet for our region the way it's trending for now. But at the same time, there are question marks in next week's forecast that could mean some changes in the forecast if certain things happen. So right now we have a system moving into the west coast, and as we go into the weekend, that system's going to split into two pieces. One moves over the Great Lakes. That's our weekend warm-up in our weekend system. The second piece dives down into Texas, and you can see it right here early next week. The question is, what is going to happen with this second piece of energy right in here? When does it roll out? How does it roll out? That's the big question right now. The models are just kind of having a tough time with this. So Monday, high confidence that we're going to be dry on Monday with high pressure over rest, seasonable temperatures. Really looks like a beautiful day on Monday. The question is, what happens with this system that just kind of hangs out here over Texas? Because that's important, because as we head into Monday night and Tuesday, there's a system diving down here over the Great Lakes and into the northeast. And if that southern storm could try to get rolling out of Texas faster, and say it rolls out Monday night, and that would have a chance of phasing with some of this northern stream energy, and that's what would make things a little more interesting, to get at least some wintry weather on the northern side of that low pressure, as that phasing would allow for a stronger storm and pull down some colder air. But the trend is to keep these two pieces separate. So you see this piece diving down into New England and the northeast next week. Here in our area, that just kind of gives us a little bit cooler air, but it's quiet. We stay pretty quiet here with the southern storm staying way off to our south here in Texas. And then the GFS begins to roll it out here right around midweek, here really along the Gulf Coast and even in the Gulf of Mexico. So the GFS basically says the southern storm will never be anything that impacts our area, and we would stay quiet the whole week with just dry conditions and seasonable temperatures with that low pressure over the Gulf of Mexico. Now, I'm going to show you the Canadian model. It's a bit different here going into next week. It also has, of course, the two pieces. Next week we have that piece diving down here from Canada into the Great Lakes, but it's also a little bit quicker in rolling out the southern stream system next week. You can see it rolls it out here Tuesday night and Wednesday. Same time you have that piece that just barely misses by across New England. Kind of misses its ride in the phasing with the northern jet here. But going into Wednesday night has that low pressure tracking through the southern U.S. It would just be a rain system here because of the lack of cold air to the north. That's just not cold enough to produce any snow, but you get just a rain system over the south. And even the Canadian solution would be dry for our area, but it is further north with that low than the GFS is. And the European models also similar to what the Canadian model is showing. So the Canadian and the European have that low pressure further north, but even those ideas would still keep that system further south for next week, and we would stay dry. But I will say this, the European ensembles are farther north with that low. Many of them do try to bring at least some rainfall into our area around Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, but there's low confidence right now in that setup. Right now it appears the trend is to keep us mainly dry with seasonable temperatures, but there is that chance if that low pressure ejects out of the southwest quicker next week and it tracks further north, that would mean pretty big changes in the forecast and would introduce rain chances for next Tuesday, Wednesday, sometime around that time frame. So there is some uncertainty in the forecast next week depending on how the southern low evolves. Again, we'll keep an eye on it here. And going towards the longer term real quickly here, I'm going to briefly mention the longer term here. I can go forward. Looking at the Rossby signal analysis, it looks like the 6 to 10 day period, it's signaling the warmer idea right around the 18th or the 20th of the month here. And we're seeing signs of potentially a storm system trying to develop around the 20th. It could be a decent storm, pumps in a lot of warm air ahead of it. You can see the warm air here in this time frame. But there's also signs after that system would pass by, we would get into a much colder period, according to this method here. In fact, it's really bullish on a much colder pattern trying to set up, at least for a short time here. This would be from the 25th of February to March 1st, showing some pretty drastic change to colder temperatures, but then we would warm back up here by the first week of March. So it'll be interesting to see how this Rossby signal analysis pans out, but there are at least some signs, more ups and downs, and probably some very dramatic ups and downs here for the rest of the month of February. Winter's not over yet. Snow, for all you snow lovers, we still can't roll out snow chances from here on out as well. In fact, sometimes our potential snow systems don't even show up till a day or two in advance. So really there's no sense in trying to look at long-range model data and trying to get an idea of when we're going to get snow. You really can't do that with any accuracy, but just looking at some of the long-range data, just some ideas here of the warmer air around around the middle of the month or so, and then potentially a colder trend towards the end part of this month. Well, thank you all for watching your evening update, and be sure to keep it here for more weather updates. Have a good evening.